Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Rajni Classes. Today I am before you with a new topic that is habitat and niche. In the following slides we will discuss about habitat and how habitat is different from niche. Then I will discuss about fundamental niche and realized niche and different aspects of niches like habitat or spatial niches, tropical niches, hypervolume or n-dimensional niches. Besides these, I will also cover few topics like ecological equivalence, resource partitioning, competitive exclusion principle. So let's start. Habitat. Habitat is the place where one would go to find it. So, this is an area or natural environment in which an organism or population normally lives. This habitat can be made by two things. It can be made by physical environment as well as by biotic environment. Habitat, physical environment includes soil, it includes range of temperature, availability of light and moisture. Not only physical environment make the habitat, there are many biotic entities that also the part of habitat, or we can say it make the habitat, and these biotic environment affect in terms of availability of food or presence of predators. So, in a habitat, an organism must find four basic things. First one is the food, water, shelter, and a space. So, any organism are making their habitat at that place where it have empty of food, it have a sufficient amount of water, where it have excess of proper shelter and a space. Habitat, a term microhabitat is often used to describe a small scale physical requirement of a particular organism or a population. For example, a forest can be habitat of many organisms, but that particular forest branch or that particular forest leaf or that you can see here these are the microhabitat. These decaying log is the microhabitat of these insects. So microhabitat is specifically that small scale physical requirement of a particular organism or pop. Now come on the term niche. The term niche, whose dictionary meaning is a place, employment, or activity for a person best suited. This term was first time used by J. Granell, and according to him, niche is the ultimate distribution unit within which each species is held by its structure and intrinsic limitations. That means niche can be made by abiotic factors, not only by the abiotic factors, but the behavior of any organism, food, and many other things. So basically, niche ecological niche is a more inclusive term that involves not only the physical space occupied by an organism but also its functional role in the community. Means the trophic position occupied and its position in the environmental gradients. That means niche. The term niche suggests that what job any organism playing in particular environment or what are their behavior in that environment. So this come under the niche, whereas habitat only represent the physical space occupied by the any organism. For example, I as a teacher, I am as a teacher occupying this classroom as a physical space. So this classroom can be my habitat. But what work I am doing here, what type of employment I have here, that come under the niche. Means my place in this particular ecosystem, my employment or my activity in this particular ecosystem with physical space, it come under the niche. So, a niche is an organismic role, or you can say job in the ecosystem. It includes what it eats, where it lives, and what it does. So, as I told you, niche has two types. It has fundamental niche and a realized niche. Fundamental niche is basically the range of environmental condition in which each of the organisms survive. For example, if we need for my survival 20 to 50-degree range of temperature or 10 to 50-degree range of temperature, so this can be my fundamental niche. This is example in terms of one physical factor. Same way, if we needed this much of water for our survival, that may be the another dimension of fundamental niche. So all the abiotic factors as well as biotic factors that make a range of condition where each of the organisms survive come under the fundamental niche. Whereas realized niche represent the range of environmental condition in which a species is really found. Actually, if we are surviving, or we can survive at range of 20 to 40 degree or 50-degree range of temperature, it may be possible that there are organisms in the environment that prefer only 20 degree up to 20 degree of temperature, or some organisms that survive up to 50-degree range of temperature. So in that case, our fundamental niche can be compressed in form of realized niche in presence of any competitors. So fundamental niche is a broader area, whereas realized niche is a actual area where an species can found. So no two species can occupy the exact same niche because no two species do the same exact thing. If they do or try to do, one will do it better and the other will have to change or become extinct. Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Rajni Classes. Today I am before you with a new topic, that is habitat and niche. In the following slides we will discuss about habitat and how habitat is different from niche. Then I will discuss about fundamental niche and realized niche, and different aspects of niches like habitat or spatial niches, trophical niches, hypervolume or n-dimensional niches. Besides these, I will also cover few topics like ecological equivalence, resource partitioning, competitive exclusion principle. So let's start. In 1958, Hutchinson introduced the term fundamental niche and realized niche. So, differentiation of niche into fundamental types and realized type was introduced by Hutchinson in 1958. According to him, fundamental niche is the niche that an organism would occupy in absence of competitors and predators. Means it is a full potential of any organism or organismic population to live in that area, or to do its job or role in that particular area. When the fundamental niches of two species overlap, then the two species are said to be competing with one another. For example, if fundamental niche of A is exactly same as a species B, then the two species will competing with each other for the same type of resources. However, in nature, two species do not overlap or compete for food, even if they eat the items of the same size, as they can look for them in different places. Okay, so this is about the fundamental niche and realized niche. Realized niche is the actual position or the actual role played by the community in that particular fundamental niche. So Hutchinson viewed this realized niche as the outcome of interspecific competition would lead either to extinction or the development of differences allowing coexistence. So in terms of fundamental niche, if two species have same type of fundamental niche, so what will happen? There may be two possibility. Either one species go to extinct and other species will compete that, or it may be possible that two species co-exist with each other with some adjustment. Okay, so fundamental niche and niche. There are three aspects of ecological niches also. These three aspects of ecological niches are The first one is the spatial or habitat niche. Three aspects of ecological niche are spatial or habitat niche. Second one is the trophic niche, and third one is the hypervolume niche. So let's discuss one by one. The first one is the spatial or habitat niche. Spatial or habitat niche, as the name suggests, physical space occupied by an organism. And this habitat niche example was given by O'Neill in 1967. And he identified seven species of millipedes living in the forest floor of the maple oak forest. Means the habitat are same for all that seven species, but their microhabitat are different. Some species within these seven species of millipedes, some species prefer to live in this hardwood of the center of the log. This habitat habitat is the place where one would go to find it. So this is the area or natural environment. Third one is the multidimensional or hypervolume niche. Multidimensional or hypervolume niche position in environmental gradient. And the concept of multidimensional or hypervolume niche was given by G.E. Hutchinson. Okay, G.E. Hutchinson, niche, according to him, niche n-dimensional hypervolume, where n is the number of environmental factor important to survival and reproduction. And in this case, niche can be measured mathematically, manipulated, and represented in climograph. We have drawn different dimension of niches. For example, you can see here there are two dimension. So this represent range of tolerant condition for two factors. So this is the example of two-dimensional niche with independent variable. Means temperature can be a variable. And then another term, ecological equivalence. What is ecological equivalence? Ecological equivalence means the at equal position or at equal trophic level. So species that uses similar niches in different habitat or locations are called ecological equivalence. Means one may be one species may reside in India and another in America, but here the function the species are producing doing are the same. Like here cynodon grass can be act as a producer, and here prairie grass can be a producer. So prairie of here and cynodon of India can be equivalent. Okay, so similar species that use similar niches in different habitat or location are called ecological. Sorry, in this diagram, species A have this much of fundamental niche, and species B have this much of fundamental, species 2 have this much of fundamental niche. But in presence of competition, but in presence of niche overlap, one species compressed its niche to direction. So again in this diagram you can see here, this is the niche breadth of M species, this is the niche breadth of N species, and these are the peaks of M and N species. So these both of these two species, species M and species N, shows their peak, and as the peak closer, competition increases, and as the peak farther distance between peak increases, competition reduces. So niche overlaps indicate the intensity of competition between species in the community for a particular resource. If the two peaks of the distribution of species M and N are move closer, the niche overlap will. Then there is another term, competitive exclusion. Competitive exclusion means two species can't have exactly the same niche in a habitat and stably coexist. That's because species with identical niches also have identical need, which means they would compete for precisely the same resources. You can understand this complete competitive exclusion principle through this example. There are two species of paramecium. First one is the paramecium aurelia, and second one is the paramecium quadrum. When these two species grow independently in separate cultures, they grow in their full-fledged form. Means they drastically increase their number in separate culture. But when we combine these two culture in one test tube, or when we wish to grow these two species in the same test tube within a limited resources, one species, that is the paramecium Aurelia compete over the second species paramecium cordatum, and this is called competitive exclusion principle, where one species distinct or cause extinction of another species. We have drawn different dimension of niches. For example, you can see here there are two dimension. So this represent range of tolerant condition for two factors. So this is the example of two-dimensional edge with independent variable. Means temperature can be a variable, and here humidity can be variable. If these two are independent, that this may affect like this, and that this may affect like this. So these are the range of tolerance condition for a particular species. But in environment, there are no independent type of factor. All the variable are interdependent or interrelated to each other. So the range of tolerable condition may look like this. Means one factor like the temperature affect the another factor like relative humidity. So this is the story of two-dimensional niche, where two factor we consider for formation of niche. If there are third factor like the soil nutrients or nutrients like phosphorus, then it form three-dimensional niche. Resource partitioning, this is the best example of resource partitioning. You can see here all these four birds are depend on this tree bark for their resources, but one species is active at night, another species may be active at day. One species eat small seeds, another species may eat larger seeds. Some species may seed this insects that present on this bark. Some species may put their beaks inside, so they have partitioned their resources different way. Forest can be an example of resource partitioning. Different species of plant in the same habitat like forest will compete for the same resources for like light, water, minerals, salts, etc. And different species of plant grow to different height and have root at a different length. Some species prefer to live in upper surface of root, upper surface of soil. Some may rooted deep in the soil. So in this way, they have partitioned their resource. Then another term, ecological equivalence. What is ecological equivalence? Ecological equivalence means the at equal position or at equal trophic level. So species that uses similar niches in different habitat or locations are called ecological equivalence. Means one may be one species may reside in India and another in America, but here the function the species are producing doing are the same. Like here cynodon grass can be act as a producer, and here prairie grass can be a producer. So prairie of here and cynodon of India can be equivalent. Okay, so you can see here the example of character displacement. They found that the sympatric species possesses many different characters. Like you can see here the birds, when they are at in different habitat or in different location, it is very difficult to distinguish these birds. But when they are in the same position, one modify their beak for eating of small seeds. Some modify their beak for handling of large seeds, and some for specialized on large seeds. So they modified their beak, or they modified their beak in form of character displacement. So this is a good example of character displacement, where the birds have modified their beaks for resource partitioning. A good example of character displacement in Darwin's finches that present on the Galapagos Island. And you can see here they have modified their finches in different way for utilization of same resource. So thank you so much for today's class, and I think now you can understand the difference between habitat and niche and different terms related to niche. If you really like this, kindly like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel Rajni Classes. Thank you.